So my name is Ivannia Soto, and I started my career in the Los Angeles Unified School District as a middle school English and English language development teacher. I taught mostly English language learners. I taught at the second largest middle school in the country. Shortly after that, I became a literacy coach in the district. I also ended my career in terms of in K through 12 as a district office administrator in LAUSD. Once I finished my PhD, I started teaching at the college level, and I now train pre-service teachers in second language acquisition. I'm a former English language learner myself. I'm of Costa Rican descent, and so my first language was Spanish. So this is a very personal issue for me, meeting the needs of English language learners and closing the achievement gap with these groups of students. So as a consultant, as a professor and as a consultant, I'm very hands-on in terms of the books that I write, the research that I conduct is embedded in schools. And so I don't see any other way of doing the hard work of closing the achievement gap and creating relationships with districts and schools in order to meet the needs of English learners. I also, the first book that I wrote for Corwin, all three books kind of tell a story. It's a narrative of what we can do to meet the needs of English learners. And so the first book is kind of the primer. And what we did with my co-author on that book, we took a look at the needs of standard English learners, who are students who speak non-standard forms of English, and English language learners. And we developed bridge building strategies. So strategies that teachers can use and systems can use that are similar to close those gaps and to meet their academic language needs. The second book is called ELL Shadowing as a Catalyst for Change, and that's a way to create urgency around the needs of English language learners. Teachers go into teaching wanting to address the needs of individual students, but become overwhelmed, right? When you have 40 students in the classroom, or you're teaching in an urban setting, or whatever it may be. And so the shadowing approach is a way to take a look at one student at a time, to take a look at their academic oral language needs, to realize that English learners, unfortunately, in the classroom setting are oftentimes invisible and silent in the classroom setting. And so how can we, right, allow them to have an academic voice in the classroom setting? And then the final book, which is coming out actually in July of 2014, is moving from spoken to written language. And so how do we use academic oral language as a scaffold for writing across the three genres within the Common Core state standards that are expected? So all three books, again, together, really are a package and a way to meet the needs of English learners within a system. My passion really is my mother's story. My mother immigrated from Costa Rica when she was 9 years old and went through the Los Angeles Unified School District, poor schooling at the time when we really didn't know what to do with English learners. Unfortunately, we make some of the same mistakes now. We still see some of the same inequities. And so the approaches that I've designed in order to close the achievement gap, my mother's story is central. Students' voices and their experiences and the communities that I work with are central to what needs to be done and next steps for systemic change with English learners.